Welcome to the YouTube Hop Christmas in July. And this is Moira's monthly hop that creates Christmas layouts on the 25th of every month. See the playlist in the description. And thank you, Moira, for letting me be a part of your YouTube Hop. So I have these two photos here from the Christmas town at the hotel exhibit when we went to the ice. And I'm going to make a fast layout. I love taking photos of Christmas trees. I've selected 2 sheets of paper to be my main papers for this layout. And I selected one from the Magic of Christmas paper collection. That was from 2025. And then I selected one paper from the Joy to the World Designer paper pack, and that one is from 2021. And I have to admit, it's one of my favorite collections. I've kind of been hoarding it. But I told myself this year I was going to get these Christmas layouts made and I was going to use these papers because I know they're going to come out with something this coming Christmas season, and I'm going to have it. Okay, so here are my two photos, and I'm going to set them to the side. So my layout is super fast, simple, and easy. This beautiful gold paper from Joy to the World is going to be the background. And then I'm going to cut a large circle out of this Christmas tree paper. And I want to show you a hack for using the jumbo circle. Okay. I'm going to show you a hack for getting your jumbo circle onto your paper centered. And it's so easy. I don't know why everybody isn't doing it. So what you'll need besides your jumbo circle, you'll need a 13 by 13 inch mat. You will need 2 rulers, and I recommend that one of them be the mat ruler. And then a second ruler or straight edge. I'm using my T-square because it is 12 inches and it just aligns perfectly with this technique. But you can use, a ruler like this if you had one, whatever. But you do need 2 straight edges. Now, my paper is 12 inch by 12 inches, but this technique will work on whatever size paper you are using, as long as you're using this jumbo circle. Make sure your paper's corner is hitting these diagonal lines. Now, if your paper was smaller than 12 inches by 12 inches, you still would want to put all 4 corners touching that diagonal line. So, because it's 12 by 12, to get all 4, this is how you're going to position your paper. So step 1, position your paper on these 45-degree lines. Step 2 is to take your ruler, preferably, now you can do this with a different ruler, but this one is just so much easier. And you want your edge of your ruler on the 1/2 inch from the edge. So here it's 1/2 inches, here it's 11 and a half. And you want to put that edge on the 1/2 inch. Okay. Then take your second ruler and put it this way horizontally on the 1/2 inch line. And if they can touch, let the 2 rulers touch. So this is a 1/2 inch margin. This is a 1/2 inch margin. This template is 11 inches wide. So put your template here and rest it in the corner so it's touching both of these rulers. And it is now perfectly centered on your paper. So Slide away your rulers and your template is centered. Now I'm going to be cutting with my green blade in the center. But you know me, I'm using my peel in place tape to keep my template from shifting because I have it very perfectly placed. And I'm actually only going to be using the inside circle. But because I have perfectly centered this, now I have a frame I can use in a later layout if I want to. So I'm going to use the green blade, and the green blade is going to be cutting for me a circle that's 8.5 inches. That's why I chose green. And now I have this beautiful 8.5 inch circle. I'm carefully peeling off my peel in place tape. And I also have a lovely frame that I could use on a future layout. And this will make a beautiful future layout. And as I go through looking at my photos, I may find a way to use it, but not today. Our next step is to cut our circle in half horizontally. The Creative Memories trimmer has these two grooves right here. And one of the things that it will do is if you put your circle up against these two positions, it will always cut the circle in half. And the larger the circle, the better, because if you have smaller circles, sometimes you may have to snip the tip of your circle with the scissors, but you'll still get a very nice and very straight cut that is centered for any size circle. I don't know how they do that. Now, because I want to cut my circle this way, I am going to do my best to get this, one, up in the grooves, and two, straight. And so as I look, this looks pretty straight. See, I'm trying to avoid it looking like that. I want it looking, I want it straight. And at this moment it isn't. So I'm spinning it around till I believe that it's going to cut straight, not at some angle. Also note, our circle is 8.5 inches. So I want the tip of my circle over here to hit the 4.25 inch line. And between touching this line and resting the circle in this groove, I can now feel pretty confident that I'm going to get a cut that's not only centered, but is also going to not be at an angle. Now, if your paper doesn't have a strong direction like this, it will not matter. And now I have two beautiful halves of circle. So now I'm laying down my background paper from Joy to the World, and I'm swapping the places. So now I've placed this half of the circle in the upper left and this half of the circle in the lower right. And I was able to have my Christmas trees straight. I'm glad they're not angled off to the side. Next, I am about to punch some borders. I'm going to punch my first border in dark green molten lava. And the molten lava papers have this foiling on them, and they are just stunning. And Creative Memories comes out with them, it seems once a year. They came out recently and sold out. And then they came out in 2025 and did well. So if you missed out, be on the lookout next year because I fully expect them to bring this back. It's a good seller. And I'm also going to cut some red from shades of seasonal sightings. I'm using the ornaments punch. It's a border punch. And I'm going to cut the ornaments in the green molten lava paper. If you're not familiar with a Creative Memories punch, you line up your paper on one of these lines here for your first punch. And if you're punching this way, you can use the left line. And if you're punching to the right, that way, you would use this line. I'm punching to the left, so I'm lining my paper up here. What a beautiful shimmery border. Now I'm going to cut it in half, but before I do, I'm going to punch two more borders with the scallop petals. This is the scallop petals border punch, and it just came out, so there are some still in stock. And I need to punch two of these. Now, this one, when I punch my first row, is just barely going to be seeing my black line, but it's going to work. Now, sometimes the paper's a little long. When that happens, just snip away the excess with your scissors. So here's one more border. I'm going to turn the paper around and punch from this side. As you can see, this is a narrow strip of paper, but I will get my scallop out of it. You can always just put your paper on the tray and you'll see, yeah, it's barely going to fit. So since I know I won't be able to see my paper edge hit the black line, I'm now going to extend my edge by using a Post-it note. And that will now help me put my paper in and guide it to the first punch on the first line. And even though my paper was very thin, I got my petals. I'm now going to cut this in half. I don't even need a full 6 inches, but this is just a simple, easy way to do it. And I now have two green pieces and two red pieces. So here are the main pieces. We have our two half circles. We have our two 6-inch green ornaments border, and we have two of the red scallop petals. So laying this down is super easy. We're going to put our scallop petals on the left and the right vertically. Then we'll put our green ornaments on the upper right and lower left corners, and we want the green on top of the red. And then we're going to put our half circles in the upper left. And now we've created this nice frame to put our photos on. So I have my photos down. They are not the same size. Now this photo already had some white around it, so I just trimmed what was there down to give it a fine matte. And then I cut this one to 3.5 inches wide to make it the same width as this one, but I didn't want to cut off the length because I didn't want to lose some of these details down here. So it is still 6 inches tall, and I gave it a mat that's roughly 1/8 of an inch around also. When I have photos that are not the same size, then I deliberately place them askew and not aligned with each other so that it doesn't exaggerate the differences between the photos. This gives it a nice whimsical feel, and we're going to find a title, and that's it, because I don't want to flood this layout with too many decorations to take away from one, this beautiful Christmas tree paper, two, these beautiful borders that we've added to the page. And so if I put too much on here, then I'm covering up my decoration here, and I think I'll start making my page become too busy. So I found this lovely title that says "'Tis the Season," but when I put it against this background, it doesn't pop enough for me. So I'm going to put it on a piece of white and then trim it and let that be a matte for this, so the "'Tis the Season" will really pop. So I'm going to adhere this down and then take my trimmer and cut around it. Now I like that, but I've been in a corner rounding mood lately, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to round the corners. And now that gives me a look that I really like. So this is the layout. I'm very, very satisfied with it just as it is. I considered adding a little more around the title here, but then I think it would detract from my pretty borders I already have on the page. So I'm going to say I'm happy, and I hope that you've enjoyed watching this. Thank you again, Moira, for letting me be a part of this hop. I hope that you will go to the hop and enjoy the layouts made by the other creators for this Christmas in July hop. And please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And have a fine, scrappy day.